About USADA getting replaced.
I don't know exactly what the new protocol is going to be, but I have heard that they're not going to let them take PPC 157, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
So they're adhering to like the WADA banned substance list, presumably.
Allegedly, but it could be like a little wink, a little nod. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it, and only time will tell. I think this current administration's contract with USADA is still applicable for the next few months.
Yeah. I think USADA standard protocol is in place until January 1.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, and that's why I'm going to turn to you to say like, what do you think's going on here?
I guess it depends how they document the positive test results too, because it's like back in the day, depending on the organization, sometimes they'll publish exactly what the person popped for, what happened, what scrutiny is happening to them in the moment. How it's being further reviewed, and it was like very negative press even before they've actually confirmed and proved this guy cheated necessarily.
Right.
And then USADA kind of took this different angle where they would kind of be a little bit more vague about it, and then they would get some scrutiny about if they're covering up for certain people. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they were like, getting scrutiny for being hyper stringent, where they'd like show up to guys' places in the middle of the fucking night when they're trying to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's a very, as far as the new organization, their level of scrutiny and how it's going to play out and how, private they're going to keep the results, it's to be determined. But if they're following the same WADA banned substance list with the same kind of protocols, I imagine it's going to be similar, but with, from what I understand, more scrutinous testing on some of the endogenous bioidenticals. So like EPO, I think Nowitzki said they're going to up their frequency of testing. Because, some of this stuff at the end of the day, there's only so much budget to allocate to where it's still a viable economic thing. So It's like, are you going to EPO test like every fucking sample of every single athlete, however many times a year? Like some people are tested like, I don't know, I forgot what Yuri was tested. It was like some insane amount of times per year. Are you going to EPO test, HGH isoform test them, carbon isotope ratio test? Are you going to do that on every sample he's ever produced?
Right.
Probably not. So you got to have some reproducible, economically viable strategy. But
I think they tested Yuri a lot because he was in recovery from shoulder surgery too.
Yeah, but then it's like, why isn't guys like, Conor getting tested out the ass?
Because he got out of the pool.
Yeah, but even when he went back in the pool, it's like...
Well, now he's testing.
How frequently, though?
Well, I don't know. They just started testing him really recently.
Guy's face definitely still looks a bit saucy.
Well, he was jacked.
Yeah.
And also, that's when you should do it.
Oh, for
when
sure.
you have something like a catastrophic leg injury, I mean, he's got rods in his legs. He's had multiple surgeries. It's not just one.
Yeah.
And then, it doesn't always heal right. And it breaks again, like Dan Hooker. He has a rod in his arm. He broke his forearm in a fight. I think it was the Jalen Turner fight. And so he had it fixed, had rods put in it. He just broke it again. So now he has to have a second surgery. He has to have, they're doing some new procedure to try to get the bones to fuse because the bones didn't fuse correctly. And, the rods were the only thing holding it in place, and it snapped.
It's really weird how they justify certain compounds that can be in and out of testing, because it's like you could abuse the fuck out of amphetamines out of competition, but then you can't use BPC. Like how does that make any sense?
Doesn't make any sense. It's all bizarre. And I think in a perfect world, professional athletes would utilize everything possible to get the best possible performance.
Yeah.
Again, my only concern would be young people ruining their endocrine system.
Yeah.
And then the possible there's real issues with overuse, like overdosing. Because if you tell someone, hey, if you take, 100 milligrams of this thing, you'll have an improved performance. Okay, what's going to give me a stroke?
Yeah.
If I take 200 milligrams, what happens? Do I move twice as fast? Like, what happens?
Yeah, and some of the weight cutting will get even more extreme with diuretic use. And
right.
Yeah, some of it, you'll have a lot, like kidney failures, pre-competitions.
Right. And then the question is going to be like, what kind of testing protocol are they going to use? Is it going to be random? Is it going to be something you can game? Like, I know, who was the athlete that was taking those testosterone gummies and they were in and out of your system in a short period of time?
Alex Rodriguez.
There you go. He was taking a bunch of different shit. But they were taking testosterone gummies that, would only stay in your system for a few hours.
As of now, and I stay pretty on top of the literature, it's still very you can still circumvent the tests even with highest scrutiny. So, with things like test, EPO, yeah, I've seen upwards of 50% of subjects in studies getting around tests trying to find if they're doping. Like knowing that they're using guys in the study as subjects of you're getting microdosed EPO and we're going to test you for it rigorously and still passing even when they're trying to catch them via the study parameters. So I think a lot of people are going to be doing the same shit they've been doing. I think the scrutiny is going to be similar probably, but perhaps more like at least Nowitzki's framing it like there's more budget being allocated to some of the more rigorous tests. But I don't know. I imagine it'll be similar, but I've also heard that this organization also works with the NBA and some other pro sports, which are traditionally seen as pretty lax in contrast.
Yeah.
So
I would imagine it's going to be a little more lax, and I would support that.
yeah.
I certainly support guys taking things to recover from injuries like Conor did with his leg injury. 100%. No question about it. I'm 100% all in on that. That's the only way. No one comes back from that. No one has ever come back from that catastrophic leg break.
Yeah.
The shin break, not a single athlete has come back from it and performed at the same level. Yeah. Anderson Silva's the only guy who came back and fought multiple times, and he was not the same guy.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like Conor's definitely got to win when he fucking comes back.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like his legacy is like not entirely hinged on it or anything, but I mean he's got a lot to live up to not just yeah.
But also, if you were a coach and you wanted to look at this in terms of a long-term career strategy, I would want a tune-up fight. 100%. I would not want him going right in there against Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, he's still trying to go like balls deep and pick the hardest dudes.
Well, that's him. That's why he's a champion. That's why he's a warrior.